to 7 now. With the increasing strain on housing, our next guests say a change in attitude could be just as useful as building more houses. They say we should be more realistic in what we need from our homes in our cities. They've coined the phrase right-sizing. Let's have a chat now to property developer John Harmon and also publisher of the Urban Developer online magazine, Adam DeMarco. Guys, thank you for coming in. John, we'll start with yourself. This term, right-sizing, explain it.
OK, so we are wedded to the idea of a quarter-acre pavlova paradise, a house with gardens and lawns. We don't need that. We're moving to an urban society. We need small, efficient living spaces.
Yeah, and having said that, I think that the quarter-acre dream has gone, and people have realised this, but New Zealanders still want to buy somewhere with a little bit of garden, not too much height, and something which they're going to see soar in value because of the land.
Yeah, well, I think we've got to understand that good apartments go up in value as well. The penthouse in New York, $20 million. That was $5 million 10 years ago.
That's the one we bought, is it? Not that long ago.
No.
Yeah, because we've seen apartments in the city before. They've not been snapped up despite the central location and despite the fact that they're probably the most affordable properties in Auckland. That's down to quality?
Correct. They didn't have any facilities or activities around them. We are now building 6 stories where people want to live, near parks, shopping centres, near education, near employment. So we need to build near places to work, places to play, and also along transport routes.
Yeah, and it's interesting you just mentioned the 6 stories thing. Rather than saying, well, if we go really high, we can cram loads of people in, you're saying, no, hold on, find a happy medium here. Adam, you're from Australia. You come into Auckland. What do you think about the way we live in Auckland? And then weigh it up against the demand on the city.
Yeah, look, I mean, Auckland's a beautiful, beautiful city. That's undisputed. The way of life is incredible. The way, the beauty, the natural beauty of the city is fantastic. Urbanisation is something that every city is experiencing at the moment, all around the world. For the first time in history, there's more people that live in cities than live in regional areas. And apartment living doesn't need to be a compromise. They've been doing it in the great cities of the world, the New Yorks, the Londons, the Berlins, the Amsterdams, for over a century. It doesn't need to be a compromise. What is important is that there's a diversity of housing product across the cities, and that infrastructure is invested in cities. It's the most efficient place to build infrastructure.
I want to talk about the word infrastructure shortly, because that, at the end of the day, to me, is at the heart of the matter as far as Auckland as a city is concerned. But how do we convince this, how do we change this mindset away from what John was talking about? Convince, let's say, a first home buyer that you're better off, potentially, building a classy, quality apartment in maybe a 6-storey building rather than hunting on the fringes of the city for your garden?
Well, I think generally it's really important for the public to understand the relationship between affordability and supply. The more supply that you can create within the market, the more affordable housing will become. The converse is true as well. The opposite is true. The less supply, the more unaffordable it becomes. So that relationship needs to be understood by the public. And then the second bit is that you need to understand that living in an apartment is a lifestyle in and of its own right. And I live in an apartment myself, and I certainly don't feel compromised in the way that I live. I can experience green spaces, public spaces. Well-designed cities have open green spaces. You can kick a footy. But at the same time, you can walk to a coffee shop and have your own little, not necessarily little, but your own space that is for yourself as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a city like London, there's got huge parks throughout the city centre, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think, John, that actually this will just all happen naturally, this change of mentality, as infrastructure doesn't provide the ease of living for people who potentially are buying further and further out? People are just going to naturally look for the alternative, the more practical alternative, which is your apartment living.
Yes and no, but I think Kiwis are stubborn, aren't we? And I think also there needs to be leadership and open debate like this, and a diversity of product where people can find their home. And that's just what we're trying to do.
Just what Adam was saying, yeah. So you'd have approved last week to see, our political parties effectively hold hands about the urban boundaries.
No, I don't want the urban boundaries to change. I don't want us to be a Dallas. I want us to be a Paris.
Very nice. John Harmon, Adam DeMarco, thank you both very much for coming in.
Pleasure.
Thank you.